Back to Hold, Flip and Dump. My name is Robin,
Hello, my name is Alex.
and we are going to be talking through three tokens that we've picked this week based on what's trending, what's been talked about, and we're going to talk about them. And at the end of the show, we're going to pick one to hold, one to flip, and one to dump. And before that, though, we're going to go into. Well, I'll just tell you which tokens we're going to review first. So, first one is going to be Helium, which is like a decentralized internet Wi-Fi provider, which has been a problem that people have been trying to solve for a long time. And Helium seems to be the one that's got furthest along that road, but we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. Tron, which, as you may have heard, there was a bit of controversy with Tron and I think it was USDC, right? Circle, because they removed their liquidity in some kind of protest. We'll go into a bit more detail on that. And Monero, Blast from the Past. It was one of the earliest coins that I was aware of. After it was like in the wave after Bitcoin, where people were saying that Bitcoin was decentralized, Bitcoin was anonymous, and other people were saying Bitcoin doesn't really give you anonymity because you can trace it. And so Monero came to be, and it's still 54 in the charts, but I don't think the price action has really been doing much in the last. Yeah, look at this, pretty static since 2022. But yeah, let's go into more detail on that after the news with Alex Lopez.
Yeah, the news with Alex Lopez. That sounds quite good. So I'll start with, a bit of market activity. So just to mention, this is a very interesting blog I recommend to everybody. So the CoinShares research blog. Lots of really valuable and data-focused analysis. And now, is this the start of a new altcoin season? And the question is because there's been loads of outflows from Bitcoin and Ethereum, but there's been inflows of capital going into other altcoins. So the biggest gainer is Solana with 4.1 million in inflows, but a lot of outflows on the two larger coins. So really interesting. We'll leave the link below just so then you can just do your full research. But really interesting to see how there's been good amount of money coming out of the two larger tokens and moving into smaller cap tokens. So quite interesting. It seems that the market is now either on consolidation. It's been quite flat. It's been moving parallel for a few weeks now. So either is on consolidation of the price, which then tends to lead to a huge growth, or we're in stagnation. So there's lots of comments on social media that are contradictory, but worth keeping an eye out on that money moving from one blockchain to another. Apart from that, we'll leave the link below, and you can make your own opinions. What do you think about this, Robin?
Very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that we have now got a situation where that because of the ETFs, because of the involvement of traditional financial institutions in DeFi and in crypto, we've now got extra numbers to track and extra things to look at. Before this, it was a lot more like there was DeFi and there was TradFi, and now it feels like those two things are coming together, which is good to see. It's been a long time coming.
Yes. Now moving on. Last week we reviewed a token. Just go back to the channel and check out Pax Gold. And I found a really interesting news. It seems that central banks have been accumulating gold. And this is interesting because it's been a consistent purchase. What that's telling me is that they know something that we don't. Because gold usually, tends to be quite stable. It's a good asset to have during volatile periods. But check that out. They've been buying non-stop. And this report is just as of January. I'm guessing that we still need to get more data about what's been happening in the last quarter. But considering that Pax Gold also was going up. It was one of the tokens that we decided to hold. And seeing that central banks are going, increasing their gold reserves, that's telling me that maybe they know something that we don't. Now, there is some news on the Japanese yen that is on the lowest levels that it's been. And there is a bit of speculation. Again, you need to be a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I recommend everybody to go and check what's happening with the Japanese currency. But it seems that it's going down, and then that can have a ripple effect onto other major currencies. So does it mean the banks are preparing for a major crisis? What do you think, Robin?
Well, we spoke in the episode that we reviewed Pax Gold. We talked about the fact that gold was going up. The war in the Middle East was on the topic of every traditional news outlet, and those things are obviously linked. I don't know why central banks are acquiring gold, because I guess they already have a lot of gold. They already have a lot of a very varied list of investments, but definitely something to watch. It's suspicious, I want to know why they're doing it now, but I'm afraid have no idea, none to the wiser.
Yeah, so continuing with things that don't make a lot of sense just yet. A few hours ago, a Solana-based token, a scam coin actually, just a few hours ago, I want to show that it reached $40 trillion in market cap. That was a few hours ago, so 10 a.m. this morning. 2 hours later, it was on over $100 trillion. Again, this is reported by DGen News. Super cool account. I recommend everybody to follow them. We're not sponsored or anything. I've just been following them for quite a while, since they launched their NFTs. So really interesting. And one of the comments is, let me see if I find it. Because they were asking, what is the relationship between market cap and liquidity? There's no relationship. You can have a market cap of 100 million, but where is that money really? Maybe on this other one. I'll find it for you guys, and we'll link the link below. There we go. So market cap doesn't equal liquidity. So how that market cap has gone up to 100 trillion in just a few hours, and what that even means already tells you that a lot of this money game is really making absolutely no sense. What are your thoughts on this, Robin? 100 trillion market cap.
Yeah, I mean, market cap, I guess, is a metric that can obviously be manipulated, and what did he say in comparison? What was the market cap of the world? It's something like, in that thing it says 26.9 trillion for the USA. Yeah, so that goes to show.
Yeah, so the world economy says 105 trillion. I'm not sure if that's very accurate, but in any case, what's very impressive is just that this token, check that out, $113 trillion in market cap. Ridiculous.
I mean, do we know how they've achieved this? Presumably they've got some kind of crazily valued assets. The valuation is obviously wrong, and somebody has just, for some reason, that is not dropping. I guess if you can't sell the coin, or if it's priced wrong on the markets, and there are a large number of them, then that could give you a crazy market cap. But don't always believe market caps. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, exactly. But let's move on to a token that has been growing in market cap, has been gaining, just moving a few spots up that leaderboard in crypto, which is TON. And the Open League, the Open Network has launched the Open League. Essentially, they're giving up to $500,000 to different teams that are building in the TON network. And they've got lots of different criteria. So if you've got a DeFi project with at least, just over 300 million, then you are eligible for, a grant of 200 plus a 300K grant, additional grant. And there are different levels. If you're a DeFi team that is experienced, you're eligible for up to 50, 55 more or less, 55K. And so really interesting way that Ton is trying to drive more liquidity, more users, and to make use of those new features where you can actually have a wallet within your Telegram account. It seems that USDT transfers through Telegram have been growing exponentially, and yeah, just a big fan of what these guys are doing. We'll leave a link below as well. Lots of information on this blog post by Ton themselves, and highly recommend it, because if you've got an idea, you need a bit of working capital for it, you might be eligible for 55K to get your ideas off the ground. Robin.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think that people always talk about how are we going to get the next billion crypto users in, and what does that look like? How are we going to get these people that don't have any interaction with crypto to start using it? And making it easy is probably the answer there. And Telegram has a huge non-crypto user base. For us in the crypto industry, it's easy to forget that it's not just crypto bros using Telegram. Actually, there's a huge following outside of that. I don't know what their user numbers are, but they're very, very big. So you can sign up for a crypto wallet in Telegram in 2-3 clicks, or I think you already have one. If you've got a Telegram account, you already have a wallet. And then the next step to that is opening up access to existing DeFi infrastructure, existing protocols. And that's what this is. I think this is putting money into the hands of developers, incentivizing them to build on the Ton platform, and then access a whole new user base. If you have a liquidity protocol, if you have a loan protocol, and you want to then open it up to just your average Telegram user who doesn't necessarily use crypto but might be interested in a loan, or might be interested in buying a meme coin even, then this could be very successful. And Ton are now one of the biggest players in the space, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before one of these grants finds the right person and the team successfully builds this new on-ramp to a crypto protocol, and we find ourselves with new players in the space. So it's very good from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometime last year, we spoke about Telegram bots in DeFi. One of them was called Unibot, and then there was a few others that did quite well. And it was a bear market, so a lot of people were downloading this. And that's the first time that we did hear about how different projects are applying the Telegram infrastructure for their DeFi applications. So really interesting to see how that's been developing over time, and now seeing Ton, just putting aside a bit of money for people to keep building and making use of that network. So really, really interesting. We'll leave a link below, but we'll move on to another alternative blockchain. So same as Ton might be a really interesting alternative to the big players. There's another chain that it's making interesting moves, and then we've got Enjin that has just partnered with us, so we're quite happy about this. This was an announcement of last week, 2 weeks ago. Now any project that's building on Enjin can increase their engagement, their conversions, trading volumes, all of that with our free tools. So we'll leave a link below. And now if you're building on Enjin, you can take advantage of all these tools thanks to our latest partnership. So we'll leave you a link below, so then you can explore how you can just benefit from all this. We've worked with great projects in other blockchains, and we couldn't be happier just to partner with Enjin directly and be able to support the ecosystem. So check out the announcement, and we'll leave you just the steps as to how you can go and benefit from this partnership.
Yeah, it's great to see. Enjin obviously have a lot of very talented builders on their platform, and we are going to partner with them to to make it possible for them to leverage our growth tools. So actually, like supercharge those builders building on Engine as well as the ones we're already working with. So excited for the future of Engine and Wobble.
Brilliant. So on that note, let's look at what's the past and future of some tokens. So let's just get rid of all this news. You'll check the links later on, guys. But we've got Helium, Tron, and Monero. So maybe we can go with Helium to start with. The decentralized internet. How much do we know about Helium? Do we review Helium? Sounds quite familiar that we've done this.
I think we revealed another project in the space. I don't think we've reviewed Helium directly before. But yeah, that's the idea. It's that you can share your internet connection, or even just use the decentralized internet. If you live in a city, you're probably surrounded by internet connections. You're surrounded by people with smartphones that are capable of sharing internet, and it's especially helpful if you're in a place where maybe the internet is being censored, or you're in a place where the internet might go down occasionally. So the idea is you share your internet and you get rewarded in crypto. And so instead of setting up a Bitcoin miner, you set up a Helium node, which rewards you for contributing to the network.
Yes, and it is interesting because they started with a bit more of a global outlook. They were trying to run before being able to walk, really. And so they started developing a niche in Florida. They decided that, okay, let's just focus on building our market here. They started doing really well. They moved away from their own blockchain. I think they had their own blockchain. And they migrated it all to Solana. And ever since, they've been doing great. Here is a map where you can see all the hotspots. Most of the hotspots are coming directly from Europe as we see them, a lot of it in Central and Eastern Europe. It looks like, again, Florida right there, lots of hotspots in the East Coast and West Coast. Not much in Latin America or Africa. I think that is where it will be the most interesting, because a lot of these countries don't have reliable internet connections. So if you can make internet cheap and accessible for everybody, then it would be nice to start reaching those remote areas. And then funny enough, that's the east of China. Look at that. The east of China having a lot of hotspots, which is interesting because China doesn't like crypto. But yeah, very interesting. I like how they've made this visual representation of their hotspots. Clearly nothing happening. Middle East, Russia, it's ghost town. Look at that.
Yeah, it's an interesting project for sure. Have you tried this, Alex? Have you tried Helium at all?
No, I did try to set up a hotspot when they first came out, but at the time I moved out of central London. So I wanted to do it when I was living in a busy area. It would have been great because, you've got a lot of traffic of people trying to connect to a hotspot, etc. But then I moved out to a more remote area. Remote? Is it remote where we live? I guess so. It's not London, basically. And so then I saw that there was not a lot of activity in this area of the world, and I decided, I will just not get it. But I've been a fan since they came out. I do think that they were doing really, really well. But again, I'm not entirely sure how well the token is and how much you get rewarded, and if it's really worth it to install this hotspot. How about you? Have you tried this?
No, I haven't. But yeah, likewise, I've been interested for a while, and I would love to do a comparison over various ways of mining these types of tokens. Like if you set up an Ethereum node, or if you set up a Bitcoin miner, you set up a Helium node, which is the most profitable right now for just your average person? I wonder whether Helium comes close in that comparison. But it's definitely an interesting project tech-wise as well as tokenomic-wise. We can see that just looking at the chart for the token price, we had a peak of $52, was that? Around, where is that? November 2021. And then another little bump actually quite recently. This bump is from the end of last year. We saw a high recently on February 16th of $10, and it's gone back down since then. But in the last month, we can see it's starting to pick up again. Still hovering around the $6 mark, far from the lofty highs of yesteryear. But yeah, so let's see if we can find out any information about the news. Has anything in particular caused Helium to go up recently?
Yeah, let's check. I'm now looking. So very interesting index that you can see here on screen, the Web3 index. And yeah, super valuable if you want to track what different projects, so DePIN and network projects really are doing. We've got LivePeer, which is for video streaming. We've got the Graph for data, Storj, which is for storage, and Helium. Good just to keep an eye out on this because it's tracking the fees that are paid with these tokens. Now for Helium, really interesting because you use the Helium token, HNT token, to pay for fees. And as we can see here, in the last 30 days, actually it's gone down by 15%. Yeah, really interesting. $72,000 worth of fees paid in the last month, but that doesn't really tell us why the token price has gone up this much. Well, I mean, in the last 30 days, check that out. So a month, the charts are showing actually that's gone down from 6.2 down to 5.6. So not a huge drop, but in the last month, you've got a drop of about 13% in price, which then correlates directly with a drop of fees paid. Yeah, like about 15% lower fees paid in the network. So really important to keep an eye out on this metric, because with that, you can see there's a direct correlation between the increase of fees with the increase of price as well. So yeah, worth keeping an eye out on that. Yeah.
I've just been looking at their Twitter profile and they've got over 200,000 followers, but their last post was in December 2021. So not a lot of activity on Twitter, but the last post said the People's Network Helium has expanded rapidly this year from 14,000 to 400,000 hotspots. Be interested to know what that is today. I'm sure that's much higher today. But I don't know anyone that uses Helium. I assume they obviously have a lot of people in London and around, so there probably are people that use it, but I'd be interested to know what the user experience is like.
Yeah, same. Again, I've followed the project for quite a while, and yeah, I just thought it was really interesting because you can now get, if I'm not wrong, I'd love to find this information. So Helium monthly internet cost. I don't know. Let's put US. Yeah, there we go. So you've got unlimited internet for $20. Yeah, there we go. And they also had a lifetime fee. I'm not sure what happened to that. But in any case, $20 a month for unlimited internet seems like a very good deal, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also depends on how fast it is, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it's good if it's reasonable and reliable. If it's dropping every 5 minutes, or if you're getting 10 kilobits per second, then that's not such a good deal.
Yeah, so here we go. We've got here, data is unlimited, but you may experience slowdowns after 30 gig of data usage. So that already tells you there that you wouldn't be able to use it for a long time. In any case, it looks like this deal is only available for the US, which makes sense because they had that key focus in the US for quite a bit. But I mean, it's quite a good deal, I think. If they bring it over to Europe, I would definitely consider that. Look at that. They compare it to AT&T and Verizon as well.
Yeah, any disruption in the internet market is welcome in my book. I think that the incumbents have been there for too long. It's too much of a, it's not a monopoly, but it's probably a duopoly or whatever the other versions of that are. There's 3 or 4 companies that have dominated this space. There's very little innovation. There's very little incentive. There's very little competition. So anything that can come in and disrupt it and give people an alternative, which is actually why I like Starlink, because Starlink, whatever you think about Elon Musk, it's a new network which people can use, and you can use Starlink in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which you can't do when you've got Virgin Media in the UK. Or maybe I'm tarnished because I've recently had a bad experience with setting up internet in the UK, but it's not as easy as it should be, and I think these kind of platforms are welcome in my book.
Okay. So I agree. I mean, I think that any disruption that can at least push the existing players to improve the service is already a good thing. Now, if on top of that you can, just share some of your spare internet connection and make a bit of money, then why not? So in terms of what's happened in the last 7 days with Helium, I'm not entirely sure what's happened. We do see on our index that we've got here, we don't have a lot of data in here. I'm sure that if we get a count, or we can explore how to get more detailed information. But in the last 7 days, we don't have a lot of information. We do have, here we go. So demand was about $15,000. Again, I'd like to be able to compare that to previous 7 days, but it already tells you that the price. If we go to the monthly chart, we see that drop of earlier was about 13%. Now it's 11%. But if we go there, we've got the last 30 days, it was around 14%. So you can see that essentially it could be that the last month has seen a drop in usage, and then in the last 7 days, just an increase in usage. So that could be it, really. Maybe there's been user growth or more people using the network, and that's why the price is going up.
Yeah, it's good to see. Let's hope that continues. Shall we move on to Tron, which I think is the next token?
Let's move on to Tron. I don't know a lot about Tron. I've heard of Tron.
Yeah, let's read here we go. What is Tron? Tron is a blockchain-based decentralized operating system, much like Ethereum, that aims to advance the decentralization of the internet and its infrastructure. At its core, Tron is a smart contract platform that offers high throughput, high scalability, and high availability for all decentralized applications in the Tron ecosystem. The Tron blockchain is built around the usability of its native token, Tron. So it's a layer 1 competitor to Ethereum, created by the Tron Foundation, a Singapore-based organization. Prior to creating the Tron Foundation, Sun founded Paiwo, an app that aspires to be the Asian Snapchat. The app got Sun into the 27 Forbes 30 under 30 list. So he's got previous success with in the tech industry. Founded Tron. When did it say? How far back has this been going? Let's see. Going back to 2018. So yeah, this is a very early competitor to Ethereum, and the price has just been all over the place, really. But there was a huge spike back in 2018. Another spike in 2021, I guess, coinciding with the 2 most recent bull markets. And then since then, we've seen, since about November 2022, we've seen a steady increase in the price of TRX, the Tron token. And yeah, my first question is, whenever comparing any competitor to Ethereum, what is the traffic like on the network? How many people are using it? What are the things being built? We know that stablecoin trading forms a large part of Tron, and that Circle USDC pulled out, so you can still trade USDT, I believe, but you can no longer trade USDC. And I don't know the specific reasons why Circle pulled out, but I think there was something they said that there was some kind of fraud happening, something like that, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to find out more about this because, I mean, Justin Sun is known as, I mean, he's one of the richest crypto entrepreneurs, as in like billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin that he's got in his wallet. And really interesting to read more about his experience. So like you mentioned, so he's got some experience in the tech world, a company called Paywa app, and it was criticized due to pornographic content. Apparently was vulgar. That's how, again, this is Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt, could be completely wrong. But what's interesting is that he went to join Ripple and then started Tron. So interesting process. And check this out. So Sun bought BitTorrent for 140 million. Well, there you have it. So participated in other funding rounds for Animoca brands, etc. So he's got a really good experience in the crypto space. Again, this name has been floating around in the crypto news for a while. Very wealthy individual, but you might tell you that there's someone that knows what they're doing behind the technology of Tron.
That's certainly an impressive CV resume. Anyone with that kind of experience is definitely qualified to. He's obviously been in the crypto industry for a while, but at this point, I guess Tron has probably developed a life of its own, and I'm not sure how much the founder at this point has control over the destiny of. Although having said that, Vitalik is a very key part of the Ethereum Foundation and still holds a lot of power in that role. So it does matter.
Okay. Well, I've just noticed is this. I find it very funny. So you need to have a certain level of narcissism to call a sidechain just based on your own name. And what's interesting is, check this out. We've got a sidechain. I'm going to name it just, I don't know, the Alex chain. And check this out. It's compatible with my other protocol. You can customize it. And if you scroll down, it's lower priced. So it's like a sidechain that he's created from Tron. There's a direct competitor to Tron. I'm not sure. Again, all of this is on the coming from ignorance. It's the first time that I see this, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Tron dashboard on this website here, and we can look at things like total value locked in Tron. If this loads, I just set it to 3 years or 12 quarters. So let's see if this can pull some data for us. But the previous dashboard I looked at was the last 90 days, and it was pretty much static for all that. So I don't think the price action is to do with TVL. There's obviously not any immediate comparison there. Are you looking at DeFi Llama? Is that showing anything of interest?
Yeah, on DeFi Llama, funny enough, it does show there's a direct correlation between. Check that out. So the pink area is fees paid in Tron. The blue line is TVL. Let me just block the. Anyway, so we've got TVL is the blue line. Here we go. That's what I wanted to do. Pink line is the fees, and the red line is the price of Tron. So it does look like there's a very close correlation between all three of them. I'm not sure which one is going to be more accurate, if DeFi Llama or the Tron dashboard. But regardless, very interesting to see because it looks like they're still growing. And yeah, wondering how many projects are building. But again, just the purpose of this is to go through all this information fairly quick. If you're looking at this, just make sure you do your own research. That's what we're doing. We're doing a really quick research and then decide what we do in a hypothetical case of us investing in these tokens. I recommend just go to the Tron website, do proper research, check the charts, check their social media, and never trust anybody really. Just do your own research, of course. But I'm guessing that, just for the purpose of time, we could move on to another of our tokens for today, which is Monero.
Yeah, for sure.
Privacy coin.
Monero, Privacy Coin. Monero is again one of the OGs in the crypto space, going way back to 2014. So that predates Ethereum, I think. When was Ethereum started? That was
2017, I believe.
Really? Yeah.
I think so.
So yeah, so very, very early days. Like I said before, people decided
2013, sorry.
2013. So
there we go.
People decided, so yeah, just after Ethereum, people decided that Bitcoin wasn't anonymous enough, and Monero was born. Monero is completely anonymous. I mean, it is possible to send tokens around without it being traced, which means that unfortunately it's fallen foul of the authorities, which I guess makes sense, but it was always it was destined to be that way, unfortunately. I think it got delisted from Binance and probably Coinbase and various others, but relatively recently, I think this year, is maybe the end of last year, it got delisted. So it's now harder to get Monero because the authorities don't want you to use it because they can't make sure that you're complying with sanctions and you're sending your money to authorized places, basically. But if you care about privacy and you care about decentralized finance, then Monero is definitely going to be of interest to you. In terms of price, yeah, it started out very low, $2 for a long time. 2015, it even went below $1, and then it spiked in the 2017-2018 bull market. Let's see what the maximum there was. I need to look at the actual. Where does it tell me?
What was that? 420, I believe. Okay. About 420.
I think it broke through 500 for a brief period as well, but yeah, and then nearly hit 500 again in, when's that? 2021, and has been pretty stable since 2022. So yeah, what you kind of expect. It's interesting that it's still trading at that kind of level despite being delisted. Doesn't seem to have too much of a negative effect. And yeah, what's it doing in the last month or so? Let's have a look.
Yeah, very interesting. This is something that CoinMarketCap started doing, and they show you the news as well. And you can just make your own assumptions as to what happened with the price. So if we click on this, apparently there was a community wallet was drained. Close to $500,000 were drained from the community wallet. Then sometime in January, we've got OKX delists Monero, followed by a crash, and then a further crash after Binance delists Monero in February. So yeah, you can see that has really hurt the price. But on the larger scale, still not as bad, to be honest. What's interesting is that there's been a lot of conversation in the media about the illicit finance that takes place in crypto, and Monero being used allegedly by the likes of Hamas and terrorist groups, and and all that. But again, there is a report, and I'll find the link, and then we can put it on the link on the comments below. It's that crypto is less used for illicit finance than property. And there was a report as to how much money is gone through. I mean, there's a lot of money laundering through property. Singapore being the largest city in the world for money laundering through property, London being second or third. And crypto only accounts, allegedly, for between 5 and 7% of that, of illicit finance, compared to about 50% through property. Again, I might be biased, and that's why it's important that you do your own research, but really interesting because, again, there's other ways. There is other ways for people to do illegal transactions. It doesn't necessarily have to be through privacy coins.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The illegal transfer of funds is going to happen, whatever. Is Monero making it easier potentially? The same argument was used against Bitcoin and is still used against Bitcoin. Even with the most recent ETF debacle, there was a lot of people saying that Bitcoin it's only used by terrorists and Hamas and everything else to fund wars, and it's completely. I mean, it's completely overstated, and they had no evidence for that. No evidence whatsoever. I don't think that that is a valid criticism. If they could prove that, for sure, but I really don't think that's the case. And any self-respecting terrorist organization is probably going to use Monero and not Bitcoin, to be honest. But yeah, it's a narrative that's been pushed for a long time against the whole of crypto. But the reality is there are a few very specific privacy coins which are very good at this, and Monero is one of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not self-respected criminal organizations. I love that. I love how you put that. I mean, there's different ways for people to commit crimes, really. Financial crimes doesn't necessarily have to be through this, but of course, it's, again, might be slightly biased, so don't listen to us. This content is for entertainment and learning purposes, and you must not use it as, definite or anything that should be used for your own decisions. Always go to other professionals for second opinions, really. So on that note, Robin, what do you think? I'd like to jump in. I think last week you shared your thoughts on which token to hold, flip, or dump. But I think I'm going to go on to Helium for a hold. I believe that, as the network keeps gaining momentum and they keep expanding to other markets, it could be an interesting project to hold. Again, the price is highly correlated to the fees. Fees are correlated to the usage. So I think that if more people start using it, and as they keep expanding, making things easier for people to join, it's a clear winner. So I think that as things become easier and more accessible, then it could be a very interesting play, especially if they can reach that $51 price tag that they had back in 2021. So a potential 10x. I would hold Helium or flip Tron. Why? To be honest, I just think that it's a very interesting project. I don't know a lot about it. The founder seems like an interesting guy. And probably anybody that's been using Tron for a while, they're going to crush us. But, that's what you get in the internet. But I think that regardless, this token has been going up non-stop since, let's say around, end of 2022. It's been a non-stop uptrend. So I think there's a clear winner. If you buy it now, you definitely are going to be able to take some profits in a few months. So interesting flip. And nothing is for sure in the crypto space, but history shows that it's been going up. So it could be an interesting flip. And then I will dump Monero, not for anything else apart from the fact that, if it's more difficult to access it, then it's more difficult for people to buy it. And what that means is that demand could also drop. So if it's out of OKX and Binance, it's telling me that, other exchanges could follow suit. So Monero is a clear dump for me. So summary, Helium hold, Tron flip, and Monero dump. What about you?
Interesting. I mean, I agree with all of your points there, and I'm torn between completely agreeing with your choice, like going with the same choice, or going with a bit of a renegade option, because yes, I agree that Helium is a long-term play. I think it's a risky bet because there are other competitors in the same space, and yes, Helium has a bit of momentum, but it's a very difficult technical problem to solve, and it's only solvable when you have a certain critical mass, which I don't think they have yet. Will this be a thing in 10 years? Possibly, but it might also just completely die in that space of time. So I would actually choose not to hold it, because looking long term, I don't know whether this is going to be a technology that we're all using. Tron, again, true. I don't think that Tron... I don't know a lot about Tron. I think that Tron has shown a lot of success lately. It seems like stable coins are a big thing on Tron, and maybe it's a good case for Tron being like a stablecoin blockchain, or the blockchain of simple transactions, something like that. However, any layer one that's going up against the Ethereum network, will they be able to compete long term? I don't know. In 10 years, will there be multiple blockchains with Ethereum, or will there be multiple blockchains under Ethereum? Will it just be layer 2s on layer 2s and layer 3s, or will it be layer 1s? I don't know. And then Monero. I mean, I think there's a strong use case for Monero, because there are lots of reasons why people will want to transfer funds illegally. Not illegally, anonymously. It's a slip of the tongue. But I think that this is one of the biggest long-term technical plays, because it's just a unique technical. It solves a very, very real problem for a lot of people. If you're a journalist and you don't want people to be able to trace where you're sending the money, or if you're maybe a political prisoner, or there's so many genuine use cases on top of the illegal ones, that I think this is going to stick around. I don't think, though, the price action will increase that much, because there's only a certain number of political prisoners in the world, and there's maybe not that much demand. So long term, I think Monero will be around. I don't know whether the price will go up that much. So that's a long way of saying I agree with you. I think those are the right choices. I think I would actually hold Tron rather than Helium. So I'm going to flip those two. I'm going to hold Tron. I'm going to flip Helium, and I'm going to dump Monero, but just because I don't think the price is going to go up that much.
Okay, brilliant. Well, we'll check who was right next time. Hopefully next week, we'll have a new assistant. I think that we mentioned this assistant last week. Not a real life assistant, the AI that we've been working on. But it'll be interesting. So, just wanted to tease with that. And hopefully next week it will be functioning. But apart from that, it was super interesting. I've learned a lot, and more next week.
Yeah, we'll introduce you to our new assistant. We won't drop the name yet, but I think the name's good. It's entertaining.
Yeah, I think it's same way that every single other company has been naming their assistants all the way from the 1990s with Microsoft. So I think the creativity in the tech world is quite stagnant ever since, but we'll see what everybody thinks. But yeah, Robin, thank you so much, man. Actually, I've learned a lot. So
it's been a good
more
one.
next week.
Have a good week, and speak to you next time.